John, football's a strange game. A week after playing perhaps the most perfect first half of football you've played in quite a while, you come out and play, let's say, less than a stellar first quarter, especially against UNI on Saturday.
Oh, it was torture. It was everything that we could do wrong or have happen go wrong. It went wrong, and I really think there was one positive. At the start of the game, our defense kept taking the field with belief and playing hard and making adjustments and making the yards tough. But the other phases of our program just fell short.
Certainly the game against Youngstown was different, but in the same regard, though, it seemed like that once again your defense was being asked to do more than eventually they were capable of doing.
Well, it just wears on you.
Yeah.
You know, when you have all those negative things go on, you go out there, and there is no pressure on UNI at the time. There's all the momentum. 100% of the momentum is on their side. And so you're almost trying to create something, do more to create some type of play. And we had a couple of those opportunities, and we didn't make that play either. So our guys believe. Our guys, when they take the field, offensively, defensively, believe. They just have to make sure they're playing full speed and with clarity, and we'll get back on track.
And with all the issues on special teams, John, with a fumbled punt and a fumbled kickoff and a missed point after and a missed field goal, it doesn't strike me as that stuff is coachable. It's just execution, isn't it?
Well, it is, and we've been so good in special teams. I mean, we win out in Montana State largely because of special teams plays, not just the one, but many of them, and we've been like that all season. And not only that, we also dropped a snap for a field goal where we couldn't get it off, and then we had two major penalties on special teams. And so, people point to Hobo Day, Hobo Week, they point to lack of preparation. We did everything the same. We had great walkthroughs. It just was life.
And then to compound things, of course, you have to play from behind, which completely changes the game plan. And then the weather takes a turn there as well. Not to make excuses, but certainly there were a lot of things working against you, just starting from a 17-0 deficit and then trying to make things happen in less than ideal weather conditions. You're
right. And advantage the team that's in the lead. We've been in that situation before also. The fact is you have to take the field in the game of football feeling that this very play will make a difference, and we did that to a large part, but we weren't able to get back into the game by doing that.
And, of course, predominantly having to pass the ball, and so really the running game really goes out the window at that point.
It does. And then, again, advantage defense because go ahead and run the ball for 5 yards. You're not going to get up the field fast enough to do that. Mm-hmm. And so they have their ears peeled back, and they're changing up the coverages, and you become one-dimensional. In tennis, they say advantage whoever. It's advantage defense when you're like that.
John, we've seen times this year where Taryn Christian is less than accurate with the football. Is that a bigger problem, something that's a larger problematic thing from what you're seeing?
We ask him to make a lot of decisions. We ask him to check plays. We ask him to go to his right and if it's cover 2 and to his left if it's cover 3. And I don't think Taryn has fallen off. I think he's improved himself in every phase. Maybe we as coaches are asking too much of him. And then we throw the ball deep a lot, and that's a hard throw to make. Yeah. Because your chance of error is so much greater than if you're throwing a 15-yard curl.
So you turn the page now, and you go to Missouri State on Saturday, and certainly now nothing's impossible, nothing's off the table, but certainly a sense of urgency kicks in at this point because obviously your margin of error is much less than it was, say, heading into the UNI game.
Without a doubt, but we're not talking about that. We know that. We address that. We have the cards we've been dealt, and we were largely part of picking those cards. Mm-hmm. And so now you go down yesterday, first day of real practice. I asked our guys to be 1-0, because that is really our creed. That's really what we try to do. And we had a great day of practice. Today we'll do the same thing, and then we're not going to worry about can we get to this or that or the other thing. Let's get down to Missouri and see if we can play our best football. You're catching a team that has yet to win a game in the conference this year, but is coming off an outstanding rushing performance against Western Illinois. They put over 200 yards up on the ground, and Kalen Crowder, their running back, has 7 yards per carry this season. So this is a team that can run the football. They can, and they are so multiple on offense. It's scary. what we're going to have to ask, or what they force your defense to do in terms of adjustments. Their quarterback's a really good player, a fast player, good thrower. They've got a great wide receiver. Our defense is going to be stressed down there.
This is a team, though, John, that's interesting. They put the ball on the ground 11 times already this year. They've only lost 4 fumbles. But when you look at them on film, are they sloppy with the football? Or they just run into some bad situations? How does a team put the ball on the ground 11 times? That's a lot.
Well, they're running the option, so they're reading the option. So the ball's being exchanged, and you don't know if you're exchanging it until you read the end. And then the quarterback has the chance to pitch. So it's not just one guy. It's guys playing hard. It's their scheme. And then, let's face it, defenses have a huge impact on turnovers. And they've had some people take the ball away, right, out of their hands.
You mentioned the quarterback, Peyton Hustling, the sophomore. His numbers sometimes look like what a sophomore looks like. He's thrown eight picks but 4 touchdowns. But you mentioned he's got a strong arm. Is it just a question of him maturing into that position?
I think he's gotten better every week. I think I really don't know, what their reads are. He doesn't look like he's asked to do what we asked Taryn to do, that, he picks a side out and we'll stick with that. With his run, the interesting thing for me, he's an option quarterback, has great feet, great speed, but when he's asked to throw, he hardly ever scrambles. So kind of an interesting dynamic there. And so that's what you worry about when you have a running quarterback. So I expect him to be a week better this week, and we're going to have to respond to what their offense does.
For you offensively, you got to keep track of Cody Isbell. He's the guy who's 4th in the conference in sacks and already 7.5 tackles for losses. So he's a guy that's going to be very active for them.
He is, and he plays both end positions, so they'll be able to put him where they want him, to the field, to one of our tackles. A very active player. He's one of those guys, as an opposing coach, you literally love to watch play because he's a great football player.
And then in the backfield, Jared Bashore has already picked off 3 passes, so there's a guy that knows how to get the football.
He does. I'm really impressed with their athletic ability across the board, offensively, defensively, and then the Holman kid, the return guy, is one of the best in America. So we're going to have to go down there, and we cannot create our own adversity, because we showed last week we weren't able to handle that. So we got to go down and play close to perfect.
You mentioned Holloman, John. I mean, here's a guy that you guys really did a nice job with last year, either kicking the ball away from him or Brady Hale did a nice job of forcing him into making fair catches.
Yeah, and we're going to try to do the same. Chase Vinatieri's been able to, on a normal day, kick it in the end zone for a touchback. Brady's kicking the ball as good as he ever has. But again, this kid is scary. He is scary. So if he gets his hands and he's got some opening, you don't tackle him in the open field. You corral him and grab some cloth, and then somebody else really tackles him.
So this is where the maturity of your team really kicks in, John. This is where it's really on display as like you said, adversity and how these kids respond going forward.
It is, and we got a bunch of guys that are that type of mentality, and I expect them to not be flippant about it. I expect them to be real serious about the situation we're in, and they continue to work hard. It's all I can ask them to do, and I'm really looking forward to us having a special game down there.